It always comes to this. More nice shit. Back again, do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I showed off the fresh right armpit. It's now fully healed. It healed really easily, as expected. I've never had a hard heal in my armpits. People are always asking if the armpits heal hard or if they're like really gross to heal or anything like that. All you really have to look forward to with it is a couple days of a sticky armpit, and it feels more bruisey than it does anything. And yeah, it really kind of just takes care of itself. You don't really have to do much for aftercare for armpits, like maybe a little bit of cream, but Aquaphor is what I use. But it's just, it's, you know, a little bit here goes a long way, because it's naturally fairly moist in your armpits, obviously. No, it does not stop you from sweating to have your armpits tattooed, and the hair does still grow. May seem silly that I'm answering those questions, but those are some of the most common questions I get whenever I show off an armpit tattoo, or for that matter, a head tattoo. People think that, and clearly I have hair, but people think that when you get tattooed certain areas, it could possibly stop the hair growth, and that's completely wrong. That doesn't happen, so you don't have that to worry about. Before I get into what we did this time, as you guys will have already seen the thumbnail, we did my other armpit. I was supposed to have a session with Rick on Monday this week. He pushed it to Tuesday, which has been what he's been doing lately. And then he pulled a classic Rick move from the old days of no show, no call. I came to the shop, Rick wasn't here, call him, wait around half an hour, Rick doesn't show up, and then I'm like, all right, whatever, doesn't matter. Like, for me now, we're 70, I think 71 or 72 sessions in. I'll check after the video and I'll put it in here. When we're that far in on this project, and I really want to hit this section here, it's bugging me even now. It's like, it's one of those, this is more for you than it is for me type scenarios sometimes with him, where I don't really sweat missing a week when I know we've got many left to go anyway. So, but I know he needs the money. So it's one of those, this is more for you than me at this point, bud. Yeah, he overslept or something, I don't know. Old tattooer stuff. But that was pretty typical in the industry many years ago, and most people these days getting tattooed are fortunate to never really have to worry about it, because as more tattooers have come into this thing, and different kinds of people, the old hiccups of the industry are sort of gone. And I'm not going to stay on that point for too long, but yeah, it's interesting, because like a lot of what he does is not playing well with clients the way that it used to, because there are so many options now for talented artists in pretty well any city you're in, and pretty much any style as well. There are some niche things that you'd have to travel far for, but his client base has dwindled down a little over the last few years, because the talent crop has come up, and though he's still very good in this area, a lot of people who just don't want to deal with that shit just won't. And because the clients have more choice now, rather than before it was, Rick or, some basement scratcher somewhere, it's like, do I really want to put up with that? Probably not, right? So why I bring that up is Terry and Rick both, and prior to that Lee, and really anyone I've ever been getting tattooed by, has always gotten a lot of business off of me. Terry's books are full of blackwork projects now. They're all a lot of them are in the early stages right now, where he's blacking out the sleeve and then starting a new one. He just had a phone consult for one yesterday that was fucking hilarious. Before the consult, the guy sends some additional references that are pictures of my arm done by Rick that he thinks Terry did because people don't read. It's disastrous how little people read and pay attention to things. This is one of the most cringe moments I've had in a while, looking through this email, and the guy has sent in a picture of my arm to me as reference material for Terry to tattoo on him. I'll tell you what, Terry would never in a million years lay out a sleeve like this. He hates using 7 mags, and this is all 7 mags. If Terry did it, it would be much bigger and bolder. And I understand that, like, oh, well, Remy, you're so self-important. Why would someone pay that much attention? I would be thinking that if you're coming from the States, like this guy is, to a small town in Canada to get some fucking color on black work done, you would know, first off, who you were talking to, because I address every email from Remy. This is his sleeve from a different artist that you want done by a different artist. The whole thing is preposterous. If I'm planning on traveling that far to see an artist, I'm probably taking some fucking notes. I'm probably paying attention to who's doing what. But we're in such an instant gratification that it's one of those, like, you really don't think you should pay any attention to an artist you're traveling and paying how much to see and theoretically going to do a million sessions. This sleeve, I think, realistically, by a really well working Rick or by Terry, probably could be done in around 30-ish to 40 sessions. However, even working fast and hard, this sleeve would take forever because it's a process of layering. So it's not something that you can just come visit once and get. And a lot of people are thinking this way. They think like, oh, I'll just travel there and I'll spend a couple days in Lethbridge and I'll leave with a fucking, 6-layer, multi-layer fucking full color over black thing. That's not how anything works. This is a little more attainable, as I've described many times. This is, the original rose sleeve was finished in 10 sessions, and if we had just wanted the white and black on black version, I think that was done in 5, right? So that's fairly easy to do. But again, I wanted to do more. Didn't need to do more, wanted to do more. There's a big fucking difference there. So for people looking for these projects, go with something bold and simple. If you're thinking you're going to travel to an artist, at least 30 times for this thing, I would be paying attention to who's doing it and kind of studying up on it, not just fucking blindly wandering into this and hoping for the best. That's how you get into these situations to begin with. And I don't even need to mention what his sleeve that he wants to black out is obviously terrible, probably for similar reasons. People, they jump before they even look ahead. It's a pretty wild thing. I guess it's wild for me because, like, my little tattoos that I would get on, like, spur of the moment, my little leg tattoos, even those were fairly decent. So the idea of blindly going for a cover-up to Canada from the States and not even knowing who the artist was that did what is pretty fucking crazy to me. Anyway, take notes, please. Take fucking notes. Don't spend all that money without knowing where you're going and who you're going to. It's crazy. I should mention now what I got into here. Again, I don't have a whole lot to say about armpit tattoos other than that they're not super painful. This wasn't a brutal session. Although, as I'm looking at this, pressing to me is Rick and I really need to get back at this ghoul's face. There's some stuff in here that's really thin red that I want to get at. And if Rick doesn't end up having the time to do it anytime soon, then probably just going to have Terry do this whole portion here again with red. Not really change anything, but just do it all over again because especially where this is full color, like, not full color, but brighter color now. It's really distinct, the difference between the two. And I want to bring that all together more, but I am happy with how it looks. This just needs to be buffed up now. There's also a couple teeth here that were vanishing that the Rick had lined out. And they were kind of vanishing, so I had Terry go in and realign them, and I wanted him to fully do them, but I think he forgot about them, honestly, or it was just a lot to do anyway. This was around 4 hours. This one was more work than the other one. It's a bigger overall armpit tattoo, and I think that's the longest session I've had on an armpit. I don't know how much more you could do on one realistically. Like, as far as time goes, it's not a super large area. I guess maybe if you were doing some little grid work thing where you were lining for 4 or 5 hours, maybe, but there's just not that much time in there, right? So 4 hours is a lot in an armpit, and my skin was starting to get pretty tight anyway. So it's not really a bad thing that we're going to have to go in and do those teeth again. Terry also wants to redo this one's tongue because he likes the colors that we used for the other one more. I'm kind of agree with that. I like them both different. I like the one's brighter and one's darker, but to me it doesn't make a huge difference. And the cohesion and the symmetry of having them both the same color would probably be better anyway. So, but I knew this one wasn't going to be as bright as this one because this one was already second pass color, so this is third now, whereas this one is was first pass, and we just did the second pass on the color. So just looking at them like this, you can see the difference. Now, obviously, this one's fresh and this one's healed, so this one's going to darken up a bit, but it's not going to darken up much, I can guarantee you. And this one didn't darken up much, if at all. It didn't darken up much, so it's still very visually punchy. So yeah, here we are. I've done the time travel thing I always talk about here, or often talk about, where it's like I was talking about getting my armpits done here a few weeks ago, and in my mind it had already been done because I decided it was going to happen. There is now no option that it doesn't, and all you do is you kind of time to get there, you know. Like, I knew it was going to happen, so blink an eye and it's already done, right? I use that in pretty well all of my tattoos. I think of it as some kind of a mental time travel type thing. It's only really a big deal if you overthink it. It only really hurts if you overthink it. I am in no pain right now. I was in some amount of pain yesterday for some period of time, and it was so passing that even during, it was like, this is a blip on the road to where I'm going next. Which brings me to my next point. I'm going to be working on the chest piece again next week, just to bring it into line with everything else. I think now everything else is punched out more, even the spider eyes right next to it. The armpit tattoos are going to stay very visually punchy. The tentacles on my sides and stomach are very visually punchy, so it'll just be a case of making things lighter and darker. Overall, it's going to be a full-on redo. There's not going to be much that isn't done again, but the spirit of the thing is going to stay mostly the same, but I want it to look a little meaner in its color tones. So again, it's just about always keeping things sort of in proportion to everything else you're doing. So I expect about 3-4 hours on that next week. I actually have another session coming up today, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'll leave that as a surprise, but I will tell you that I shaved part of my leg that was rather bushy. So take that as a little hint if you'd like. That video will be coming up hopefully directly after that. You know, I always say hopefully because I always know these things are going to happen, but because of things like what happened with Rick on Monday, Tuesday, whatever, it's always a guarantee in my mind, but I can't always guarantee my dance partner, you know. So I will say this will be interesting because I'll be working with a new artist for the first time in a while. I have had another artist do some of this color on black stuff for me. Alex Rose back in 2022 did the one on the back of my neck. But this will be a semi-frequent thing that I'm working with this girl. So this will be her first big crack at the bat, but it'll be with a lot of tutelage and past knowledge kind of passed down. I'm looking forward to getting into some new styles and a new approach. So, yeah, I don't know what the basis for working with Ashlyn will be, the girl who's going to be working on my leg, but it will be semi-frequent, I believe. Eventually, my wife's going to tattoo me, but that's a whole other thing. She hasn't yet. It's, everyone here at this shop will learn this technique and will cover black, and everyone in here has already done cover-ups. Very early on, we start in that. This city is built on cover-ups. There's a whole lot of bad work out there. There's more scratchers every day opening shops, and it creates a unique problem in that everyone that can do those things will always be working. Anyone that can cover up will always have work, but it's not always the best work, right? You're always eating, but you're always disgruntled about it if you can do cover-ups. That's how Rick has made his bread in this city, because there are a lot of bad artists around here, and a lot of people have no idea what a good tattoo is until after it's, gone wrong. So anyway, I'm not going to stay on that note too long. I'll have more to talk to you guys about tomorrow. I had a lot of things to talk about. Believe it or not, I could probably make 3 of these vlogs right now. But I got to get back home. So I'll show this off one more time. And the two together. When you see me tomorrow, this will be pretty well settled down. It's a little swollen right now, but nothing too crazy. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.